So biomedical ethics or healthcare ethics, there's these 4 pillars, and they are beneficence, which is the moral responsibility to do the right thing and to do well for our patients, our clients, those who seek care. Non-maleficence, which is our moral responsibility to do no harm, which includes the harm of neglect. Autonomy, which is honoring the free agency of the people who come to us and their decision-making authority. So this involves things like informed consent, which we can go into a little more because that's important in psychedelics. And then justice. So justice deals with issues of power and equality, like we were talking before about power dynamics and recognizing them and doing what we can to equalize power dynamics, and to prioritize and privilege those in positions of less power in a situation or dynamic. And it's also about honoring, and this overlaps with autonomy somewhat, an individual's right, according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, to freedom of thoughts, consciousness, and religion. And to have that and to be free of any undue influence in those realms. And so when we think about psychedelics and how they open us up and how mystical experiences can happen and worldviews can shift, and when we think about autonomy and justice, this freedom of thought, consciousness, and religion is really important to consider because of what we spoke about earlier, the suggestibility piece. And if a therapist is unaware that they have implicit biases that they're bringing into the therapeutic relationship, or particular worldviews that they're actually imposing upon a person without their informed consent, then there's a potential that this undue influence is going to happen, and to happen quite significantly under the effect of a psychedelic. So those are the 4 pillars: beneficence, non-maleficence, autonomy, and justice. I have been a proponent of the UN Declaration of Human Rights since I was in high school. I found out about it and was like, it was the 50th anniversary of the UN Declaration of Human Rights. So I organized this whole event to help other students learn about human rights and make art submissions, because I just thought, yeah, we should all have the same dignity, respect, and absolutely 100%. I fully support freedom of consciousness and being able to use informed consent to make choices about how we alter our consciousness for better or worse, as free agents, and it's interesting how our society, because of stigma, will be allowing of certain drugs and chemicals like alcohol and tobacco, which have serious known harms, but then prohibit, along with the known harms of prohibition, other substances like psychedelics. And unfortunately, we're still here. I know there's a lot of good signs that the tides are turning and things are changing, but it's like, how many more people need to die when it comes to the fentanyl crisis and overdoses, or be harmed, until we can get to a place where there's a clean drug supply. And this is very much aside from the use of psychedelics in a medical and healthcare setting, which is where my professional expertise lies. But you did just touch a little thread of obviously my perspective as it relates to our freedom of consciousness in general. So I think we're entitled to that. And as psychedelic therapists, we must be very aware of our influence on another human being's consciousness when we are the one creating and holding the container for their transformation. And that fits into that category of justice as well. Recognizing that people come from many different backgrounds, perspectives, cultures, religions, and walk it through your doors seeking care and seeking this type of work. If you know that you're lacking in some knowledge or awareness, or maybe not aligned to work with that individual, then it's a moral duty actually to find an appropriate person to work with that individual, and to also continue to do our own work in cultural safety and humility, both from Indigenous perspective and also related to multicultural perspectives and backgrounds to understand, the history of Indigenous genocide, the history of slavery, the history of oppression of people, such that, when it comes to intergenerational trauma and these other types of trauma of oppression that exist in people's historic context and may absolutely come forward in psychedelic therapy in ways that they may not even be conscious of, like that's what's in the space. I think it's really important that we become aware and do our best to become aware, make sure people are held in appropriate containers where those themes, when they do emerge, can be held with care, we can avoid re-traumatization, and really creating a safe container for people to be met with that whole historic background that they bring. So very, very important.